So in this video, I want to go over how I can, for example, resample sounds I've synthesized and what to do with them in audio, because there is many options and many things you can do. This is the sound we made earlier. For example, stab, which I introduced earlier, will work a little bit better on audio in my opinion. So you can kind of make it even tighter. You can add even more distortion. Where is it? That's just one thing you can do. You can also really use that when you're going to use that bass in your intro, for example. There's a few really cool ways you can use it by applying reverb, for example. Shimmer is a good example for that. I always love to turn the shift down to 0 and give it a stereo, some type of stereo reverb. So just prefer the sound. And then go back with a fab filter again. And have a little play. I feel like this kind of sound makes for a really epic kind of impact sound. You could pair that with a kick. Also a really cool thing you can do with basses in audio. We can basically leave that reverb on, make it a little bit shorter, have a heavier low cut. Maybe even a little bit less. Sounds really metallic, so I kind of like that. So what we can do next is we can basically add another fab filter. You can obviously use the same, but for demonstration purposes, I think this works better. And then we basically put it before the distortion, and then add a bell shape. And you can, for example, use E, or you can, for example, use a perfect fifth of E, which is quite interesting. So, for example, if you open up the piano roll and you type in E, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, for example, and then you see 7 semitones is in B. And with the Pro Q, you can actually see which frequency B is. So you can basically make a harmonic in B, which will be a good harmony for E. And you can try that in all of the different places. So we can also try it in B3 instead of B4 and see how that sounds. And then maybe you can add another one, B5 maybe. See how that sounds. You get a bit of a screechier sound. Oops. It's too high up. B4 was kind of cool, so we can try that again as a like another harmonic. then you can maybe distort it some more. And then have a go with the EQ again and see what you can do. Maybe turn down the waveform a little bit. Maybe even add the stab. Maybe a second. And you already got kind of like a cool rhythmic bass, so you could kind of resample that again, for example. And then you don't get that tail, and you could resample that once more. Maybe tighten it even more. Maybe put it through that again. Then maybe EQ it a little bit more. And then you get these nice, weird, minimal drum bass kind of stabs from basically a Reese bass. That's quite a cool stab right here. You can obviously also like use this only as a mid bass and lay that over a sub, for example. That will sound cool. You could definitely use it as some type of stab by adding a delay. Or just as like a intro sound. But there's so many things we can do with just a resample, basically. So we can go back to that sound now. Put that all in a group. Mute the group for now. Collect all and save that really quick. And then see what else we have. Which other parts in here could we use? We could use that part where the E was pitched up, and we could just pitch it down. And this already sounds kind of like a cool Nero-ish type of sound, but we can do a lot of things with that. We can, for example, make a notch style bass here and just make a notch in the filter of your choice and see what we can do. And there's a really cool thing that happens if you duplicate that, for example. So you get kind of like a more refined type of sound. And then you could go in again with some presets or some actual flanges and phases and just have some fun with that. All of these distort a little bit too much. For example, stuff like this. It gives you kind of like a weird character. And there's another thing you can do instead of duplicating that sound. This way it stays more open, so you can either leave it like that, add a bit of compression, for example, to kind of have the tops come out a little bit more. And then maybe add a second EQ to get some of those highs back, for example. That's a way to do it. Or you could open up the second one, for example, that we added, and draw a different shape. That sometimes leads to interesting soundscapes because you kind of really playing with the phasing. Oh yeah, something's wrong with my CPU today, sorry. But yeah, so you made like a weird narrowish type of sound from just one resample that we did, and we did a deep minimal type of drum and bass plucky sound. So there's so many ways you can resample audio and play with it, and it mostly comes down to filtering, transient shaping, and just being creative with it, adding reverbs. But mostly it's the simple filtering stuff that really shines. And you could get even cleaner sounds out of this if, for example, you resampled a little bit of a less extremely distorted version of the sound. So you could go back into the Reese and, for example, distort it a little bit less, and then you have more room for distortion in the post-processing phase. And that's why I love keeping kind of like my MIDI files and my serum presets saved as well, so I can go back and maybe do some fine-tuning on that, because right now we've basically reached our limit of distortion already. So you could go back and then go even crazier on the sounds, because it will make an even crazier impact. And some plugins work better on audio, so it's definitely worth it to try around with that. Yeah, hope that helps. Peace out.